Hello, everyone. Thank you, Professor Leonidas, for giving me this platform today. I am María del Mar Navarro. I am here conducting research in the Isotype Archives and coming to the end of my visit. So we wanted to briefly discuss why I came to the archives and what I've learned while I was at the archives. But first, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the University of Reading, Dr. Emma Mins for her support and patience, Professor Eric Kindle for making this trip happen, Professors Burke, Sue Walker, and individuals whose research have also made a significant contribution to my work, such as Robin Kinkros and Sue Perks. I would also like to thank the design school, of course, for their unwavering support as I conduct my research. We may have a couple of minutes after I complete my presentation. I'm keeping it less than 10 minutes, hopefully, for comments or questions, or please feel free if you can use the comments feature to leave me notes, and I'll be happy to get back to you. Here is my contact information in the event you're interested in reaching out. So, what is my work about and why am I here? My work in the last 6-7 years has focused on pictorial statistics, mainly the work of the Vienna method and isotype. My reasons for coming have been to interact with the materials in person. I never had a chance to do so while I was working on my dissertation. Everything was done digitally and long distance. I am interested in uncovering information that supports or even refutes some of my previous findings on pictorial statistics. And finally, I'm taking a grounded theory approach by letting the materials speak to me to see if there are any new stories, any particular patterns emerging from what I'm looking at. So those are mainly my reasons for visiting. My previous research, published in June of last year in my dissertation, focused on extending the timeline of data visualization from the 19th century to an earlier period in the 16th century, drawing parallels between pictorial statistics and a method used in colonial Mexico in the 1500s, also representing quantities. Here are two of various samples that I used in my research. On an initial scan, you can see similarities in the use of images to communicate quantities. We see the way that the information is laid out and the organization of the icons. We see repetition, grouping, color, all used to create meaning. Here we see the technique of slicing, which is quite interesting. The top is an example from the Códices of Huejotzinco, and the bottom one is taken from one of the Vienna method charts from the Atlas of Society and Economy. Through my research, I identified 8 of the 11 principles of the Vienna method in the codices of the School of Huejotzinco, and here you can see them in bold. My question became, how do the codices of the School of Huejotzinco and the charts in the Vienna method share so many similarities when there is so much difference in space and time, many centuries, different continents, and yet there's no evidence of cross-pollination? To answer these questions, or at least to explore these questions, I applied various theoretical frameworks of visual cognition, mainly the picture superiority effect and Gestalt theories. So in addition to extending the data visualization timeline, I introduced a term, pictographic numeracy, which provides a broader description to include the Vienna method, which used images to represent statistical information, so pictorial statistics, and the codices of the School of Huejotzinco, which used the same method to communicate accounting information, so pictorial accounting. So I'm including this within the largest scope of pictographic numeracy with the hope that I can find additional examples from history. So why I'm here. I'm going to start off by confessing that I was a bit starstruck. It's amazing to have the opportunity to meet scholars whose work has informed my work for the last few years. So I interacted with the archival materials in the past. It's not something that is completely new to me, but what is new is the amount of time that I spent here. I came the 3rd of February and I leave this Saturday. So Dr. Mins was very helpful in guiding me on how to treat archival materials with care. I tried to be as efficient as possible with my time, capturing information that caught my attention or in various ways. Again, either because it seemed to support my research, it contradicted something that I knew, or I was finding some type of pattern as I went through the information. So I used every tool in my disposal, from pen and paper to scanning, picture taking, voice dictation. I think that my favorite tools are traditional writing because it's quick, voice recording, and the Adobe PDF app on my phone. For general use, it works as well as a flatbed scanner without all the work you have to put into it by putting in the paper and all the sound it makes. This PDF app will automatically frame your document and take the image, and all you need to do is accept it or decline it. That was very helpful as well. I can't say enough about voice recordings. I do a lot of my work through voice recordings, and later on, I either transcribe it by typing it because I need to think through that information, or to use a voice to text converter. You would be surprised of how much you can get done in regard to writing and research when you just let your ideas flow, but you record them. So the more I delved into the archives, the more I realized how extensive they are. Almost 2 months into the archives, and I feel that I only scratched the surface. Also, the more I read, the more questions arose. I leave with lots of material to analyze closely, and I'm optimistic that there's much more to say about the Vienna method and isotype as a method of communication, as a business, as a brand, as a human endeavor of international scale, as an example of the solutions we find as humans and how similar they can be regardless of time and space. That's fascinating to me. My next work involves consulting with other scholars and conducting research at several archives in Spain to see if I can identify additional examples of pictographic numeracy. And I will be also traveling to Mexico City, where there is evidence of additional work between by that time it was Isotype and the Cardenas government in the 1940s or so. There's a publication that may be considered the second most comprehensive piece using images to communicate statistics, located in Mexico, that could be put next to the Atlas of Society and Economy. So I'm interested in exploring that further. And I would like to end the presentation by sharing my thoughts on what the future may hold for the archives. I'm sure these are conversations that you're having, but I can imagine identifying funding sources to digitize the archives under a digital humanities umbrella. I think that would be a game changer. Not only will it help preserve the great resources, it will open up opportunities to explore its content in ways that are very difficult to do at this time, all by hand. Because of my hybrid background in communication theory, consumer behavior design, and my interest in cognition, I think that there is the potential to share knowledge in many disciplines. And by digitizing the archives and using artificial intelligence tools, I feel that there is a new knowledge to be mined from this extensive archive. Perhaps even information that we can't even imagine at this time. So I really do think that the NOADs would be totally up to doing that if they were here. They seem to be pretty cool people and innovators. So really, that is what I have for you today. Just a little bit about my work and why I came to the University of Reading. I want to thank everyone again for this great opportunity and meeting such great people and scholars. Thank you very much.